long time ago, maybe in the 80s or the 90s, where there were articles written about museums being the new churches, the new religious places, the new places for contemplation and spirituality. And I think some of that should still hold. I think a museum should be, in a sense, a place that's both relevant to the world we live in some deep educational ways, but also a place of refuge where an individual can engage with another individual's creativity in a way that we can't in our everyday life. There still has to be that place in a community that respects an output of great thought, of great research, of great undertaking, of great creativity. That's the role that it can have in a community. It can also be a gathering place. It can be a place for celebrations. It can be a place for conferences. It can be a place even to talk about political work without the anxiety or the politics of the actual world outside, but to really contemplate issues that are influencing creativity and art making and the world outside. So it's in a way a kind of neutral territory, and in a way a very exciting and charged territory. It has to balance all of those things in a very interesting way. Let me start by saying most of our audience is from Washington. We have one of the highest Washington-based audiences of any of the 19 Smithsonian museums. But that said, we have, for example, we have a lot of programs in the schools. We have a lot of programs that brings teenagers to the museum and that work in the schools with teachers as well. But what we're now doing is something that our director calls curating public space. We have this huge plaza around the museum. We have a huge entrance lobby. They're very quiet and very unpopulated. And what we want to do is make those spaces come alive with content. So for example, right now we have a huge exhibition on the outside of the building, the Doug Aitken. It's a film. Anyone can come see it. You don't have to pay an admission ticket. Admission is free anyway to the Hirshhorn. But anyone can come see this, and it sends the message that the art is going beyond the interior of the museum, and it's embracing the larger space around it. And it's attracting people into that space. Well, especially the Hirshhorn, because I don't know if you've seen the building. The building is a gigantic concrete ring with only one window. And the window is looking out at the National Mall, but the rest of it is concrete, faceless, no face. And so the bubble that you may have heard about is by Liz Diller, Scofidio, and Renfro. They did the High Line in New York. They did the renovation of Lincoln Center to make it much more accessible to people. This is a design of probably the largest inflatable building that's ever been made. It's 157 feet high, which is more than 50 meters high. It will go up through the center of the Hirshhorn. It will come out the side a little bit, and the center Hirshhorn, this big atrium, will then be used for public events of all different kinds. Educational events, performances, films, conferences, dialogues, artist studio work probably as well. So we will transform this space that is empty almost all of the time into an active space for 2 months of the year. This will stay up for 2 months of every year.